Okay, so I am back. I'm still working on the Addie hat. I'm test knitting my own pattern. Here I'm sizing a popular hat pattern of mine down for babies and toddlers, and I'm really excited about it, but I wanted to talk about one of the ways that I do my folded brims for knit hats. And I don't know if I go into enough detail in my pattern notes and instructions on this type of technique that I do. So because I'm knitting for babies and toddlers, a folded brim, sometimes you just knit the longer brim and then you can fold it in half, right? But that moves around and can slide and can get kind of annoying when you're talking about smaller humans wearing this type of hat. So I also, a note here, much of the time that you do a fold, you're folding it out and up, right? So that means the inside of the brim will be showing, and that's fine, okay? But with my hat patterns, I do a half twisted rib. So I knit through the back, and then I purl, and knit through the back, and then purl. When you fold that inside out, you get a regular knit stitch. The purl is showing on the inside as a regular knit stitch. So you don't get that really pretty half twisted rib that's a little bit tighter and neater. So, spoiler alert, or I guess more of an instruction, what I do, this isn't done yet, so it's not long enough, but I take the brim of the hat, I fold it in on itself. Okay, so you can see that beautiful half twisted rib is showing on the outside. And now to keep it in place and make it more comfortable to wear, when I'm finished, as I work the next round, I will pick up a stitch from the edge or border of the hat and knit it together with the live stitch that's on my knitting needle. Now, some people, this may drive you nuts and you might think, why don't you just do a provisional cast on? Sometimes that gets annoying, it slips and slides. Again, a lot of the times I'm knitting and I have a small child pulling on what I'm working on, and I always get super, super nervous that the provisional cast on is going to come undone. Also, when you work with a provisional cast on, sometimes it gets a little, with a half twisted rib or a ribbing pattern, it can get a little bit trickier to undo and be more work if you're not quite familiar with how to do it the correct way. So for me, it's just super reliable just to do a long tail cast on, knit my half twisted rib. Again, you knit through the back, which I have a video on that I can link in the description below, and then purl all the way around until you have a brim that's really twice as long as you would like it to be, because you're going to fold it in half. And then you fold the brim in on itself and then pick up and knit together a stitch as you work around to fix that folded brim in place. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people that love this, but I'm sure there's probably going to be even more people that are vocal in their disgust or hate for it. But this is, again, my personal little hack for knitting hats with folded brims, because I think it's easier to knit through the back than purl through the back to make this brim show or display correctly. And I think, actually, no, I don't even think, I don't like the provisional cast on. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but so either try to change my mind in the comments below or let me know if you find this hack useful in your knitting. Thanks so much, knitters, and we'll see you in the next video. Alright, so we've got the brim, we folded it inside out. I kind of offset it so that, this is the twisted rib, and then the purl, and then the twisted rib, and then the purl. When you see the inside, this is actually a purl and this is the backside of the pearl and this is the backside of the twisted rib. But for some reason, mentally, it's just easier for me to line up the rib with the rib. So what we're going to be doing is knitting these live stitches together with the bumps, the base of the stitch on the cast on row. Now, because this is not a provisional cast on, these stitches are already fixed and firm. You could literally just go around and grab every other stitch and knit it together. So knit together and then just knit the live stitch and then pick up this and knit it together with the live stitch, then knit the live stitch, then pick up this one. For some reason, I am a glutton for punishment, and I tried to pick up the base of these twisted knit stitches to match up with the pearls. So we'll show you how we do it here. Hopefully the autofocus is kind to me. So I take my left hand needle in my right hand because it's just easier for me to pick up the bar at the base of this stitch. Work my needle in there. And then knit it together and pull it off. Now, so the bar, I don't know if you can see it, but this is an upside down purl stitch right now. It's actually the back of the twisted knit stitch. So this gets a little tight, but we're going to work our knitting needle in, flip it back around and hold it as normal. Oy, that's tight. Fix that there. Okay. Like I said, these stitches are a little bit looser, they're a little bit easier. Just work your needle into the base of that stitch. Flip it around so that you're holding it as normal again. And then pull it off. So if these pearl ones get too tricky, you can skip them. Just make sure that you're knitting every other stitch together on the border. And eventually you'll have a nice fixed folded brim, and then you can start working the rest of the hat pattern.